everyone. This is Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and this is the third in the series of Children of Time. There will be a fourth book in March, and so far so good. I like this enough that I am going to continue the series, especially with the things that are possible with what are presented in this book. This sits on the ideas of sentience, consciousness, and simulation, and whether we are actually sentient beings or just our neurology is so complex as you study it further and further that it just thinks or acts like it's actually a sentient thing. I myself do believe we have free will, and we see examples of it everywhere. I didn't have to make this video, but I decided to do so. I don't have to go to work, but it's probably a good idea if I do that I do, so I don't lose the roof over my head and so on. And it pains me to have to go to work. I don't want to work anymore. Worked enough for 3 people. But regardless, 2 characters in this, Gothly and Gethly. These are uplifted birds, and they are fun characters. They banter, and they form a duo, or they literally call themselves a dyad. So you have 2 individuals that make a better whole, or their accomplishments become better. One is basically a good recorder and retains all the information, and the other one is a problem solver, and they have been sent down to this world, which I'll talk about in a minute, to solve a big problem there, but I can't just tell you what that is. They in the first book it's spiders, uplifted spiders. In the second book it is octopi primarily, but it also introduces this planet that has a sentient biomass. The trees, the grass, the fungi, everything on it is a conscious entity, and they refer to themselves as we. And they take some piece of it and take it with them. So the humans and the spiders and the octopi and this living sentient biomass are all now going on space adventures, and primarily they want to go and look at these terraformed worlds and see what's going on there with the colonists on them. And now this biomass allows them to do things like, I could make a copy of myself and it'd be just as legitimate a me as I am. A free-thinking being that can go and have its own adventures. It seemed to say that later on, they can stay separate, but you could either combine into one person again, or you could simply take their memories and download them into yourself to get their experiences. There is Kern, who she's introduced. She's the one who accidentally uplifted the spiders, and then herself was uploaded into a machine and then uploaded again into the biotechnology of the spiders. And she's apparently got copies of herself all over the place, this seemed to say. And whereas she has no existential crisis about this at all, being the arrogant thing that she is. And I'd be very interested to find out what a Kern meeting another Kern would do and say and interact with each other. I hope he does that in this 4th book. So this world, not terribly compatible with the colonists there. So for example, it's all diminishing returns, or technology is wearing out. It almost has a feel like it's written like all of a sudden you're back to the Old West, which I was like, well, if you're bringing technology with you, why would you revert back to that? Why can't you redevelop your technology? Like, for example, their farmland is deteriorating slowly but surely. They don't quite realize it yet. Well, we have in the real world indoor vertical farming, which doesn't require soil, doesn't require sun, and the space and water needs are 90% less than what you might find on a traditional farm. Like, well, you can just, if you can seal that up, you can take it anywhere and literally survive anywhere. But there's I don't know if Tchaikovsky knows about that sort of thing, or if he just figures, well, we're gonna still use traditional farms wherever we go. But I think that if he did know about it, there's a purpose to using farmland and why they're at the technology level that they are. the town itself, there's two characters in there. Liv is one of the primary viewpoint characters, and she's a girl, preteen, I believe. And she's there and having to deal with all the adults, and she's very smart. She has a special purpose. And this other fellow, this uncle of hers, who, like a lot of the townsfolk, we don't get to know them. But we do get to know them basically through this uncle, because he's basically a bigoted jackass. And we're talking about willing to go to the point of lynching outsiders. And so they have this mythology developed about there may be somebody else here, somebody's watching us, somebody's spying on us, someone's stealing from us. The explorers come down, and they're all in human bodies. And you have an octopus one, a spider one, and of course a human. And they're all in there spying to see what's going on here. And there is a prime directive sort of conflict, like in Star Trek. And they know that things are going wrong here, and eventually these people are going to die. And so, do we let them? Do we interfere? Do we let them make their own choices? Do we present ourselves to them? How will they take it? And do we offer to help openly, or will they just shun us anyway? And they seem to think collectively that there's different ideas between them, but they seem to come to the idea that they might not be happy if we reveal ourselves to them, and we can be overrun. We're still we're physically better, but we're still in these human bodies. We can be run over and hurt and killed. And so in lies this mythology of them, they. We have to keep them at bay or away, or kill them. And this creates, well, the next book is called Children of Strife, but definitely there's some strife here in this book between these colonists and the people who just may or may not want to help them. I would wonder, I mean, if I were a space explorer and found a civilization that was dying off, I'd at the very least wonder if I would try to go in and try to do it in some secret way. How do you, if your farmland's going bad, can I sprinkle some of my biotech in it and make it better without them knowing? Possibly. If I have that kind of technology, I'd probably use it that way and help out sentience everywhere, and then keep an eye on them, see if they become competition. So that is at the heart of this book, and I think that Children of Time is still the best one and still good for a standalone if you want to read it. Children of Ruin in this step down from the first book. They are, I would almost think that some of the inner dialogue and the views presented by a given character can be a little long-winded. And so that's kind of true with a lot of books I read. I sit back and say, well, could have been 50 pages less, 50 pages less, 75 pages less, something like that. But still good enough. Nothing I can say that's too horrible about them. And I will continue with Children of Strife in March. So that's so far a decent trilogy. Well, believe it or not, I'm going to read something that isn't science fiction or fantasy. This is by Steve Tibble, Assassins and Templars, A Battle in Myth and Blood. So this, if you've ever heard of the Middle Eastern original assassin organization, this is basically what this is supposed to be about. And I understand there's a lot of mythology surrounding them that is debunked in here. So this was actually in the wrong section. I was browsing the fantasy section, and somebody had stuck this in there, and I picked it up and said, oh, I kind of like this. The story of the medieval world's two most violent and legendary organizations. The Order of Assassins and the Knights Templar were as notorious for their death-dealing as their bravery. One was a Shiite religious sect, the other a Christian military order created to defend the Holy Land. Violently opposed to one another, they had vastly different reputations, followings, and ambitions. Yet they developed strikingly similar strategies. In this compelling account, Steve Tibble traces the history of both groups from their origins to their ultimate destruction. Each was at times outnumbered, surrounded, and lacking in technological advantage, but nonetheless carved out a place in history through a single-minded devotion to death. Their fanaticism changed the medieval world, and even up to the present day, in popular culture and countless conspiracy theories, they've become endlessly linked in myth and memory, and I'm looking forward to that. Happily, something a little shorter. Sometimes with the hours I work, I gotta really kind of push hard. I still enjoy reading, but I gotta push it to get some of these in time for a video a week. But this one's not so long, so looking forward to that. Assassins and Templars. That's it. Nice one. Thank you very much. See you next week. Enjoy the weather. It's snowing outside. It's snow covered, another few inches, just sitting there. I'm done with winter. I'm done with winter. That's enough. January is enough. I don't think it should be 3 months. 1 month of winter is enough. Let's get some better temperatures. As a matter of fact, it was so cold last week. It was so cold last week that when I saw it was in the 20s for this week, I'm like, oh, thank goodness, that's way warmer. And it was too. At work, I only had had to wear one pair of socks instead of 2 or 3. That's it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.